let's get right into it. I started collecting the odd third-party figure about a year ago. Even reviewed the first one I got in here, which was this fan's Hobby Red Buzzer. He's a good solid Masterpiece style Headmaster guy. Since then I've grabbed a few more in the form of Ocular Max's Fraudo and Doctor Wu's Sword Dancer and Energy Dragon. So far these have all been good fun. If you want to try a few different ideas when it comes to how figures transform and stuff, third-party figures can be a bit of a breath of fresh air. I totally get being put off of third-party stuff though. I've seen some people get some figures with real questionable QC, and a lot of bots from the earlier days of third-party can be pretty awful. So far I seem to have made nothing but good choices though. Seriously, all the lads I've shown you here are good times. Definitely recommend Sword Dancer if you have a Legacy Blaster, because, you know, Hasbro ain't releasing any tapes for him. But speaking of quality, here's Modfans' Ruller, their take on Optimus Prime's little trailer buddy Ruller, who's the subject of today's video. This here is, as I understand it, Modfans' first figure. They did an upgrade kit for a KO MP36 years back, but that's about all I know of them. Now, I'm still an amateur when it comes to third party, but it's been my understanding that not many companies come swinging right out of the gate with a banger. There's some early figures that don't quite stand the test of time, and often you can see them making improvements to their approach with each release. Not the case with Ruller here though. This is pretty darn great. Like, the moment I got it out of the box, it felt way better than I was expecting. The plastic is solid and feels tough. There's die-cast in the feet and crotch. Sorry, mate. There's some lovely ratchets on the knees. Not much paint, but where it is, it's supplied really well. The lad poses up a storm too. Now, if you've not heard of this figure before, have a quick guess to yourself how much this costs. For reference, Sword Dancer here cost me 25 quid, and Fraudo cost me just over 100 second hand. Got a price in that head of yours that you flaunt about so much? Okay. Ruller here cost me 30 quid. 30 British pounds. Cheaper than a Voyager class mainline figure. A few quid more than the deluxe. This thing has an ab crunch and ratcheted knees, zero kibble, and feels pure premium, and it was just 30 quid. That's a crazy good price. Don't get me wrong, he isn't perfect. I have a tiny handful of minor quibbles that I'll get to later, but I tell you, don't think I've had a figure that feels this nice for this price before. Will it last? Hopefully. It's not like there isn't figures out there that impress initially before showing a number of issues as they age. Had this for a few weeks now though, and there's no sign of stress marks or joints loosening. Nothing's popped off in a worrying manner either. Looks wise, this is a pretty figure. I went with the red and blue version to better match the role of the IDW comics. I reckon he makes a decent stand-in for that character in your collection. There is two other colour choices, one in silver and one in green and orange, so you do have options, which is good. The red and blue also gives me a bit of Diaclone vibe. These particular shades of them, I mean. Matches up with that Diaclone Universe twin twist from a while back. Head sculpt is pretty simple, but looks nice. It isn't doing anything crazy, but it's nailing a sort of stoic warrior vibe. Won't show up on this rubbish camera, but there's a bit of a sheen to the white paint on this figure that's present in the face. It comes with two guns that can ban up into one if you wish, and they're blast effect compatible, although you'll have to stretch one out a little on the gun with the longer barrel. It also comes with a hose pipe that you can connect to the back of the guns, or go right back in the box where I won't lose it. Quick box mention here, I like the blueprint style art on it. It's nice and simple. My only real gripes with the bot mode are super minimal. Firstly, I find the feet don't always lie flat, not sure why. He seems to just rock back and forth a little. A bit of an angling soon sorts it out though. My other gripe is with the hip skirts. They do their job, but the front ones will catch on the grooves on the thighs, and the ones on the back get caught on the top of the leg. It's not a big deal, you just move them out of the way first. Now, shall we get him transformed? Transformation isn't really tricky at all. It's definitely a level above most mainline figures, but not into the complex hellscape levels of fiddly. I'd probably pitch it somewhere between Studio Series 86 Hot Rod and Masterpiece Skids, like right in there somewhere. Most of the transformation is in the arms and chest. There is one part I don't like much, and that's getting these red pieces tabbed into the shoulders once they're compressed into place. There's an angle you need to get it at, and the tabs feel like they're about a millimetre or so too low. It does snap in, but it's one bit that doesn't feel good. And I suppose getting the last backplate bit in isn't great either. It's just all slightly too tight a fit, although I wouldn't say this is a clearance issue. As for the legs, it's a classic snap together fold me do. The instructions, which are shockingly great everywhere else, do miss the step to raise these little shim pieces up and over. I've seen a few people reviewing this toy miss that too. And there's Ruller all transformed up and stuff. That sure is a roller. Do like how almost all the red and white has vanished in the vehicle mode. Feels like they started from here to make sure it looked the part and worked backwards from there. Although, as you've seen, the bot shows no compromise in its appearance at all to achieve that. They just seem to have made sure that Ruller in his roller mode looked exactly like you'd expect a roller to look like. Speaking of being a roller, he rolls really well. Do have one gripe here, and that's that the wheels don't have any kind of lock-in point. Expect them to flop about a bit when you pick them up. It's not a huge deal, but it does feed into this feeling that the toy could have done with one more round of refinements. Apparently this guy can pull and fit into both MP10 and 44's trailers, which you'll never believe this. I don't have. Pulling them along does require removing this little red light piece though, and I've got to be honest, I don't like that. That'd be going right up the hoover within minutes if I removed it. You can connect the gun and stuff in this mode to complete the look, and it works out alright. Pipe's still staying in the box though. Overall, I'm super impressed with this lad. My only issues are so minor they barely register. Would it have been nice if he didn't have floppy wheels or that one transformation step wasn't a bit hairy? Sure, but it ain't enough to detract from this figure that's genuinely well made and built. Like I said earlier, he feels premium despite only costing 30 quid. If you've been thinking of getting a new bot recently but can't think of anything in the mainline that you fancy, maybe take this as your first chance to try out third party stuff. Not only is Ruller a great entry level figure, he's also a real quality figure overall. I don't want to give Modfans ideas, but I'd honestly be happy with this if it was more in the £60 price range. So yeah, Modfans is on the radar now. The next release is the Titan's Return Fort Max compatible Cerebros, and it's also around the 30 quid mark. Might be one to consider. So, thank you for watching. Do a comment, like and subscribe maybe. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky as Wild Will's Hat, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!